What is going on, guys? Welcome back to episode 11 of FLAMerica. Today I'm joined by my co-host Leo and our special guest for the third time, Gustavo GUGA. We're so glad to have you guys here. Today we're going to be covering the election that just happened in Flamengo and many other things surrounding that. So you guys are caught up to speed and know all the facts and everything that's going to be going on in the future of Flamengo. How you doing, Leo?
Good morning, Rafa. Good morning, Guga. Doing well. Special day today for our Flamengo fans, and excited to talk about this election result.
Yes, sir. Before we reveal the special date that it is today, our special guest, Guga, we're so glad to have you back here with us. Always a pleasure. How are you doing today?
Hey, guys. What's going on? I'm doing great. Looking forward to next year, what's coming up. It should be a great year for all of us. We just had an election. And like you guys said, today's a celebratory day for all Flamengo fans.
Yes, sir. So for those of you guys who don't know, 43 years ago to the date, Flamengo won what's called the Mundial, right? The World Championship against Liverpool. We beat them 3-0. So before we talk about the significance on that for a few moments, I think it's important we pay a little tribute with a few seconds of this.
Em dezembro de 81, botou os ingleses na roda.
Awesome song, awesome moment. I mean, is this the unequivocally the best moment in Flamengo history, Guga?
Absolutely. I remember vividly. I was 8 years old, and but I remember vividly. I was in a farmhouse in the north part of Rio. His Angie and family had a gathering, and I was there watching it. I remember clearly, and absolutely, it was amazing. That team, the momentum that had been building, throughout 1980, culminating in the Mundial in 81. So, and for throughout the rest of the 80s, where we dominated. So, absolutely.
Awesome. Leo, would you be able to say the same? I mean, there's not many words that I guess can describe this moment for us, right?
Here's what I remember. I was also in the state of Rio in Arraial do Cabo. This was the vacations for Brazilian students. I was 6 at the time, and I remember that day, given the time zone difference in Tokyo and Brazil, we were 12 hours behind them. So the game there was in the morning time, early afternoon. What I know is that was the first day in my entire life at the time that I stayed awake past midnight. So there was a something really special. The good thing also is that I remember the first half a lot better than I remember the second half, and luckily all 3 goals happened in the first half. So that day forged the Flamengo fandom in a lot of young children around Brazil back in the days, and we went to dominate the next few years. And here we are today, staring at the doorsteps of another very important Club World Cup competition.
Awesome. Love it. Well, hey, let's dive right into the main topic of today's discussion on the every 3 years, Flamengo holds what we call an election, right, of who will be the president of Flamengo. These are the 3 candidates that were this year: Mauricio Gomes de Matos, Luiz Eduardo Batista, and Rodrigo Dunchi. And before we reveal, obviously, who were the winners, most of you guys hopefully already know by now. If not, you're tuning into the right spot. Let's get right into the candidates. A quick presentation of all 3 candidates. Leo, why don't you walk us through each one and give us a quick background about each one?
Of course. Now, the interesting thing about these 3 candidates says that once in a moment of time, they were all part of the same team, of the same executive group that was running Flamengo for the last 12 years. Flamengo went through a really strong revolution in the elections of 2011, starting in 2012. And Flamengo has been a different club ever since. And all these 3 gentlemen were involved in some capacity in the 12 years past, but they split in different ways, and now they find themselves running against one another. Now, Bapi was vice president in different roles across the last. Mauricio also had that role, and Rodrigo Dunshi was the candidate of the current president, Rodolfo Lantig. He was his vice president. So the first two candidates, Papi and MGM, they were in the opposition, and Rodrigo was the candidate for the current administration.
Awesome. Great. GUGA, let me ask you something. How important do you believe it is that Flamengo holds the structure of, having these elections every 3 years, making sure we have the best person in there? I know not every club works in this fashion. How important do you think this election process is, and the actual leadership we put within Flamengo? How important and how much of a difference does that actually make into how good the team produces on the football field?
Yes. I think as we just held an election here in the United States, and they were saying that this was the most important election of all time. I think this potentially is the most important election of all time. Not, I've watched other elections that were super important because Flamengo was in such a dire straits, and we weren't doing well, all throughout the late 90s, early 2000s. And so I've seen important elections. Now, this one is important not because, we're going to, close our doors or go out of business or anything like that. This is just an opportunity to do a quantum leap into the future, and really become a world-class club in the sense of the business of becoming a worldwide brand, because we Flamengo fans, we are the greatest team in the world, but not the entire world knows that. And sometimes, we might get stuck, I think, in our Brazilian ways, our local Rio ways, and think that this is it. But we need to get the word out there about Flamengo, and I think that that's what's important about this election. What's coming up.
I agree. Very, very well said. So the election results came in, and the winner ended up being Bapi, right? And so, Leo, why don't you tell us a little bit about him, right? What his main proposals are, maybe some of his strengths, weaknesses, what the big plans are. The final vote ended up being here that he got 1,727 votes. The second closest to him was Dunshi, which got 1,161. So seems like a pretty comfortable margin right there that he had. Anyways, Leo, let's dive right into it. Is this good? What does this mean?
Right. So it is, in my opinion, this was a good result for the club to have Bapi coming in. But before I talk more about that, Rafa, let's ask our friends to like and subscribe the video, get the word out so more people can learn about Flamengo in English.
Yes,
and
sir.
As you always say, right, to get our Brazilian friends to polish in their English a little bit. But back to Bapi, there was a commanding victory. That's the first thing that needs to be said. It's a three-way race where he had close to 60% of the vote, whereas Dunshi, who finished second, just north of 30. So it was a resounding win. It was uncontested in that sense. And it must be said, and I follow election day online to see how things developed. It was a very well organized, well structured, and very mature way of running the elections by the club. That's great that the democracy aspect of Flamengo in terms of running elections can be smooth. A new president can be chosen, and the club goes on. So that was kudos to all involved. It's not always been the case in Flamengo throughout the years. So that's a good thing. Now back to Bapi. Bapi is a man with profound managerial experience. Throughout his career, he was CEO of large multinational companies, most notoriously Sky or DirecTV Brazil. He was the CEO of that company for many, many years, and that's given him a lot of background in management complex organizations. Also, he's been involved in the Flamengo transformation, as I alluded earlier, from day one, when a group of notables met ahead of the 2011, 2012 elections. So he's been involved. He held different roles in the club. And so he absolutely has the experience, the pedigree, the intelligence, the brute force to take Flamengo to the next level, to make sure that our trajectory continues and that some pitfalls along the way are avoided. Flamengo is now too big to fail, if you know what I mean. We are now in a course of rising our relevance, of increasing our revenues, of having ambitious plans. We need qualified individuals to lead that effort. So all in all, for those reasons, I'm confident that Rapi's elections for election.
Do we have you?
Yeah, we're back.
We
Okay.
lost about your last 10 seconds or 15 seconds. So go ahead.
Yeah, if you want to get back into it, I think the best way, because you sound like you're excited about Bap, you're getting me excited about him. I think the folks watching are excited, just to get them even more looking forward to what's coming. Why don't you quick fire off for us, Leo, what the main proposals are that Bap is going to bring to the table?
Right. So during his campaign and throughout these years, I think that to make the Flamengo club professional in all aspects, and especially the football, the soccer department, the English version of the Brazilian word is professionalization, right? So to make things truly professional, and especially the soccer department. So that will be number one. I think that's his main intention. And as a consequence of that, you would expect revenues to drive. He's surrounded himself by very talented individuals. One of them is simply the CEO of GUGA Brazil, who has come out to say that he expects Flamengo to grow their revenues by 2.5-fold from where it is now. And just by reference, Flamengo's revenues, total revenue nowadays, is around 10 times what it used to be a decade ago. So we're already being on a rising path, and we expect to make that more than double to a level of 5 billion reais a year, which is superb. So that's obviously one of the main aspects. Now, at the same time, Flamengo has recently acquired land to build its stadium. Perhaps one of the biggest chips on every Flamengo fan's shoulder today is the fact that Flamengo doesn't have a stadium to call his own. We play at Maracanã, the most iconic stadium in the world. We have a concession to stay at Maracanã for the next 20 years. So Flamengo has always been well served by the myth of Maracanã. However, the same way that everybody wants to own their own home one day, you don't want to be a renter for the rest of your life. It's true with Flamengo.
True.
So we have the land. We bought the land, cash. We have the land, and we have the commitment and the signed agreement with the township of Rio to develop that stadium. So expectations are there. The commitment to make it happen is there. Now the question is, and that's the jigsaw of that puzzle, how does Flamengo go ahead and build its stadium in a way that it would not jeopardize the club finances to a point that it would be either unable to field a highly competitive squad and team, or two, God forbid, get itself in financial jeopardy or financial trouble that could compromise all the work that has been done today. So that fine exercise of delivering the stadium, the dream of the nation, the Flamengo nation, whilst maintaining a very, very highly competitive soccer team, which is an expensive thing to do, and making sure that the club's finances are not compromised. I would say that this is one of his key objectives. And also, as GUGA alluded, and GUGA can talk more about that, is how do you take Flamengo's brand, which is iconic, solid, the number one in Brazil, to make this an international recognized brand that captivate audiences across the world.
I think what's awesome, just to piggyback off what you're saying, is really seeing these images of the stadium, right? This is like a stadium that looks like none other. You look at the screen, the 360 screen display at the top, and it looks just like what you see at the Bernabeu for the Real Madrid stadium, as well as some of the top-notch NFL stadiums. right? I mean, this looks fantastic to me. And I agree, Leo, with exactly what you're saying. You know, we have to be able to have a balance, not only producing a good team, but be able to handle the finances to build this awesome project. Guga, what would you say is your knee-jerk reaction, you know, hearing these things and seeing these images as we scroll through a couple of different pictures of what the stadium may look like?
Yeah. First of all, I want to just acknowledge you guys. What a wonderful job you're doing. I've been following every episode, and it's fantastic to have. This is a way of internationalizing the brand, of people getting to know Flamengo in a serious way in the English world, or the English-speaking world. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you.
It's a beautiful project. It's a beautiful design. It would be awesome. You know, I know they're trying to have at least 80 to 90,000 people in that stadium. So it would be, would be a alçapão, or, for maybe people are more familiar with the Bombonera in Buenos Aires, the Boca Stadium. It would be a loud stadium because of its design. Bapi, I mean, I don't know if he had anything to do with the design, but he is a civil engineer by trade. And I think it's a beautiful project. We all want to own our own home, as Leo stated. Although I'm old school, I love Maracanã. I think that'll be our forever home. But because of local state politics, unfortunately, we can't own that stadium, or take over or buy from the city. So we needed to go on our own, and it's the project is being realized, and it's in a great location. So excited about that.
Awesome. Great answer. And I appreciate you. And again, we're so glad to be able to have you on here so many different times. I think Leo really highlighted well how the main proposals are to professionalize the club in all aspects, right? We see Flamengo, the reason why we're on upward trajectory has a direct correlation with the way the club is being run, in a very similar fashion to some top European clubs, right? Even our coach, right, has a European-esque style, learned a lot from Simeone, right? Jorge Jesus, two European coaches, two of the best in the world. So you can feel Flamengo kind of starting to elevate itself from the competition, especially the Brasileirão, from a club aspect, right? I think the only other club that is probably, I guess two other clubs that are trending in that direction, right, is Botafogo, who had John Textor, right, the investor come in and help them get to that track, and I guess Palmeiras too. But to get that, to drive the point home, right, it's not only important that we're professionalizing the club, but also the soccer department, and actually making Flamengo a team that's a true feeder system with a true academy, bringing real prospects and real talents. And I think a great way that we're going to be able to do that is by bringing in this guy right here, right, Boto. Not many people might know much about him, right? He spent a lot of time in Europe, right? Shakhtar Donetsk and a couple other projects. But Leo, how integral can this guy Boto be to our club, and what does he mean, and who is he really, for those out there who are not sure?
Yeah, Jose Boto is a soccer professional. He's a Portuguese born, and has a lot of experience starting from the scouting department in club football and making all his way up to managing all aspects. Now, he is renowned as being very knowledgeable of the Brazilian soccer market when it comes to prospects. So throughout his tenure, he's invested in a number of Brazilian young talents that he wants subsequently to resell them to larger European clubs. Now, more important than Boto's background and what he brings to the table, I think he's the personification of what the new president, Bapi, means when he says the club is going to be run professionally. What does that mean? Of course, soccer is the main component of why Flamengo exists, and the reason he has 45 million fans, right? Yeah, it's nice to have a beautiful club with a swimming pool and all of that, absolutely. But the reason Flamengo is what it is because of soccer. And although many things have improved, there was an element in the way in which the soccer department has been run that was not 100% professional per se. So this is Mbappe saying, listen, there will be a professional of the trade who will run all things soccer, and he'll be answerable just to me, and he will manage things as they should with his team, with a coach, with the medical department, with the physiology department, with everything, with the academy, with the training grounds, etc. So Flamengo is branching off soccer in the sense that it's bringing somebody who will run that business within the club, and that is great, and that is an important step. It's to depersonify the way in which the football aspect of the club is run, to be done so by people who are professionals at it. So that's to me the representation of Jose Boto, right? I'm hoping that he will come in and he will be able to form a great partnership with the current coach, Felipe Luis, with someone who everybody in the Flamengo orbit loves. Talking about Felipe Luis, something has been said about could we be starting to see an era where we are forming our own Sir Alex Ferguson, somebody who stayed in Man United for north of 25 years and who transformed Man United into the powerhouse that he was. And we know that since Ferguson left, Man United is trying still to find its footing. Felipe Luis has the ingredients to hopefully be that reference in Flamengo, and to have somebody like Boto making the decisions, assisting in the transfer market, making sure a professional philosophy gets replicated in all youth systems categories, is that attempt by the new president to make Flamengo soccer a really professional entity.
Love it, love it. Guga, anything to add on that before we bring this to a close?
Well, thank you, Leo, for introducing us to Boto. Very interesting. I did not know him, and yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting the moment that we're living, and I'm someone who follows Formula One, and I remember when Red Bull team was created. Wasn't a traditional team like Williams or some of the older teams, Ferrari. But what do? They professionalized, as Leo put it, and they brought the best people. And in a few years, they became, they dominated Formula One. They've been dominating Formula One. And I think that's accredited to competency, leadership, and money, which is the same ingredients that we already have. I mean, we have we have a diamond, and we just need to polish that diamond. And with these professionals and the power that it is Flamengo, with its 45 million fans, a new stadium, a FIFA, the first FIFA World Club Cup next year, I think everything is aligning that, all the mistakes that we've experimented in the last few years with the changing in coaches. And so I think there's a lot of lessons learned. And I think Bapi was part of watching all of this, because he was part of the, I met him. I just wanted to say that I met him once in Qatar when I was with Leo, watching the 2019 Mundial that we lost to Liverpool. Tight game, we tied, and then we lost in overtime, Firmino's goal. But the point is that I met him. I was having dinner, and he came by, and I got a good impression of him. So exciting moment for the club, exciting moment for the world, being introduced to Flamengo. So let's go get it.
Let's get it. Let's get it. Thank you guys so much for that fantastic analysis. I know this was more of a serious tone to the episode as we gave a lot more facts, a lot more information, and I wanted to end it off on a little bit more of a light note. So I have two questions for each of you. Okay, my first one's a little bit funnier. My second one, it'll be in homage of the day today, right? 43-year anniversary of Flamengo's Mundial. So first question, Guga. Of the current squad right now of Flamengo, if you, I don't believe you do, but if you were to have had a daughter, who is the player on Flamengo squad you'd least want to date your daughter?
Okay, we don't have to deal with Gabigol anymore, so he's out of the question. So let me think. No, the guys are pretty good, man. I mean, I don't see anybody. I'll just say that I'm happy that Gabigol is not a candidate, and I'm happy with that.
Okay, we'll take it. Leo, anyone that comes to mind?
Listen, I don't know about that. Luckily, like GUGA, I don't have to worry about that, as I was blessed with 2 boys. So I wouldn't have to worry about that. But that's a funny question. I don't know. Maybe how about that? I would not pick somebody who would end up living halfway across the world, somewhere in Japan or Saudi Arabia, etc. So hopefully somebody that would have either stick around in Brazil or come to the MLS. That way I would get to see my daughter and my grandkids more often.
Oh, look at
Good answer.
Look at this guy. He's well trained. He's well trained. Okay, last one. Real quickly, let's do this. Okay, let me share my screen so y'all can see it. Can you guys see my screen here?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. On the left side, we have the Mundial winning team 1981. On the right side, we have Flamengo's historic 2019 championship team. Okay, we're gonna go one by one, right? First, we'll have GUGA start. I want you to give me your starting 11 between these. So pick who will be your keeper, pick who will be your left back. Anyways, make a mixed team so that if you could only put 11 players out of these 22, who would it be? GUGA.
Okay, so I'll start with Raul as the goalie. Then I would have of the 2 zagueiros, I would have Moser instead of Pablo Mari. That was the choice. And then Marinho or Rodrigo Caio. I would go with Rodrigo Caio. Now on the left back, Junior or Everton Ribeiro. Tough one, but I'll go with
Junior or Felipe Luis.
I'm sorry, because
no worries.
Here.
It's flipped. Yeah,
Junior. Yeah. So yes, Junior. I would have to go with Junior. Then right back, I would have for sure to go with Leandro. Versus Rafinha. Then in the midfield, I would go with Agilio, no doubt. Gerson would sit on the bench. On the midfield, left side or right side, I'll have to go with Andrade instead of William Arão. And then forward, and then in the middle, of course, Zico. All right, so Arrasca would have to sit out, and forward, I would put Gabigol over Nunes. Although he scored 2 goals in that final, it's tough because Nunes was a badass, but I have to give Gabigol a pass here. Or not a pass, I'll put him in. And then you have Lico or Bruno Henrique. That's a no-brainer, Bruno Henrique for me. So there it is. And the coach, I would go with Jorge Jesus instead of Carpegiani. So
awesome. And hey, just to wrap it up, Everton Ribeiro or Chita?
Everton Ribeiro or Chita. Okay. That's a tough one because Chita was a cracky. But I'll go with Everton Ribeiro. Okay,
cool. So I think you had 7 from the 1981 team and 4 from the 2019 team. So
sounds right.
Sounds like a badass team. All right, Leo, go ahead, Leo. And by the way, Leo, if you want to flip the midfield or switch the formation, you can do that, right? You don't have to do like for like.
It's unfair to Google, right? Because I had time to think about it.
Yeah, exactly. He's on the spot.
He's on the spot.
And it was flipped. It was flipped. I was trying to correlate. So My bad.
No, that's
No.
my bad. That's my bad.
No, fair enough. So I would play a 4-4-2, and I would, like Guga, I would pick Jorge Jesus to be the coach. So I'm going to respect his formation. And my team is, I know, always very tough to compare generations, but this is just a game. These are my two favorite Flamengo teams of all time. So if I have to pick a starting 11, by the way, one hell of a bench we would have, that's for sure. But the starting 11 I would go on a 4-4-2 with Diego Alves. I would have Leandro on right back. I would have Rodrigo Caio and Moser in the center of the defense, and I would have Junior as a left back. I would play.
Who's your keeper? Raul? Your keeper is Raul?
No, Diego Alves.
Diego Alves.
Diego Alves would be my keeper. So Diego Alves, Leandro, Rodrigo Caio, Moser, and Junior. My midfield would be a four in the midfield. I would have Andrade, Adilio, Zico, and Arrascaeta. And up front, I'll have the 2019 magical duo of Bruno Henrique and Gabigol. So recapping, I would have Diego Alves, Leandro, Rodrigo Caio, Moser, and Junior, Andrade, Adilio, Arrascaeta, Zico, Bruno Henrique, Gabigol, and Jorge Jesus.
Not a bad team, huh?
That's awesome. That is exciting.
Well, hey guys, thank you guys so much for joining us here today. We appreciate you guys sticking around. Please drop a like, subscribe, share this. We want to be able to bring Flamengo to the masses, and for those trying to polish it up on their English, we think you found the right spot. Anyways, God bless. Guga, thank you so much for joining us here again.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it so much.
Another
Leo,
awesome
always,
episode.
A pleasure. Anyways, God bless everybody, and saudações do Flamengo.
See you guys.